Good morning, all of you. Welcome to the channel. So today we'll be taking up all the important articles from the Sunday's edition of the newspaper, that is for 4th of June 2023. So we talked about yesterday also about the rail tragedy. So this topic falls under GS3, disaster and disaster management. So in this, all types of investigations, they have been ordered. Whoever is found guilty will be punished, says Prime Minister after visiting the accident site. So Odisha, it observes day of mourning for lives lost, even as massive disaster response team, NDRF, worked well into the day to retrieve the bodies from the wreckage. So that's there. So for us, as it is important from the perspective of disaster management, so you need to find out more about NDRF and how things function. Whenever there's a disaster, how is the response team, how does that function? So all of that becomes important. So here Supreme Court stays the High Court order to check rape survivors' horoscope. So Supreme Court, it stayed an Allahabad High Court order which sought the help of the astrology department at the University of Lucknow to decide if a rape survivor was Manglik, that is a person with Mangal Dosh in their horoscope. So Lucknow bench of the Allahabad High Court had passed the order while hearing the bail application of a man accused of raping the woman on the pretext of marriage. So the two people, they had met on a matrimonial site, and accused had told the court that he could not marry her because she is a Manglik. However, the women's council had denied she had the dosh, that the Manglik dosh, the Mangal dosh. So it is being said that it breaches privacy. So advocate Ajay Kumar Singh, representing the accused, told the court that astrology is a science and is taught in universities. However, the Supreme Court maintained that the order disturbs the right to privacy. So right to privacy is a derived a fundamental right. We know about that, and let's move forward. So Pharmaceuticals Export Promotion Council of India, it becomes important. It is under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Then IFEX, it will be held in Hyderabad. Basically it's ITEX Exhibition Center in Hyderabad, Telangana. So we'll be celebrating 9th edition of the International Pharmaceutical Exhibition. And IFEX is an initiative Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, organized by Pharmexcel. All right. So you can find out more about this council, and remember that it falls under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So talking about CAG, it falls under GS2 polity. So CAG, it had flagged many shortcomings in the derailments report. So जब भी ऐसा कोई incidents होता है, disaster होता है, you need to submit this derailment report. So even in this report, CAG, it says that there are many shortcomings which are part of these kinds of reports. So auditors found that there was a shortfall ranging from 30% to 100% in inspections by the track recording cars and idling of track machines. So that's like very huge. It is saying shortfall, it falls within the range of 30% to 100% in terms of inspections. So this thing needs to be addressed. And apart from that, from the perspective of quality, you can find out more about CAG, the functions, whether it's like what does any constitutional article talks about it or not, and all the basic details about it. So US-India ties, they facilitate development of defense platform. Again, when we talk about international relations, GS2. So here, India-US ties. So the US-India Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technology, ISET, which allows the exploration of new ways to co-develop the key defense platforms. And that's how things will be moving forward. So Austin said in Singapore on Saturday, adding that the US is committed to sharing technological advances it has made to help its allies. So this is the one part of that initiative, ISET, which is between India and US. So normalcy is returning in Manipur. Peace efforts are on, as per the security advisor. Clashes between the Metis and the Kuki communities. They have claimed around 100 lives and displaced 35,000 people. So it is being said that it was an ethnic clash, ethnic conflict. So we know about all history of this incidents which is happening, the situation in the state of Manipur. So again यहाँ जो report file की गई है उसमें there are loopholes, मतलब it is not sufficiently telling the reasons exactly. So that is the thing, मतलब इतना बड़ा incidents होने के बाद भी we see such things happening, so obviously that's not acceptable. So government has banned 14 combination drugs after the panel flags risk associated with them and have raised questions regarding their efficacy. So the list includes medicines used for cough, fever, and infections. So expert committee says there is no therapeutic justification of these combinations and they may involve risk to human beings. So 14 combination drugs have been banned. So fixed dose combination medicines, which are found to lack the therapeutic relevance, like there is no such, evidence or proper study and research behind that thing, that whether it will be safe for human consumption or not. So that is the reason why it has been banned. And apart from that, the Central Drug Standard Control Organization, FDC, is refer to these products which contain one or more active ingredients which are used for particular indications. So that is the definition of fixed dose combination drugs according to CDSCO. So CDSCO, it's often like repeated in the newspaper, you can find out about it. And what is the function of CDSCO, all of that becomes important for us. So India urges the G20 countries to join vaccine research initiative to tackle inequity. So G20, there was a question this year in prelims, and that was like very well expected also. So G20, it would be like basically under the international relations, international bodies. So GS2 topic, and then it says India is basically calling them key with the COVID-19 pandemic. It is exposed the acute inequity in the vaccine development and the access. So Indian government is working in partnership with two leading global non-profits to convene and build consensus among the G20 member states and others for a proposed global vaccine research collaborative. So talks are still ongoing regarding this. And you can find out about what are the other initiatives that have been taken before in terms of vaccine, like there is Gavi, so you can find out about that. Coming to the world page, so you need to spot the location of Hong Kong and the bordering countries or bordering areas, and also surrounding water bodies if any exist. Then there was like violence witnessed in Senegal. And again, you need to spot the location where it is exactly located. So it's a part of West Africa. Apart from that, so Biden, he signs the debt ceiling bill that pulls US from the brink of the default. So just 2 days to spare, US President Joe Biden, he signed legislation that lifts the nation's debt ceiling, averting an unprecedented default in the federal government's debt. And Treasury Department had warned that the country would start running short of cash to pay all of its bills on Monday. So just 2 days before the final decision has been now taken. So we can now take a sigh of relief. So Indonesia, it proposes peace plan to end the war between Russia and Ukraine. So again, you need to spot exactly the location of Indonesia, the bordering countries. And apart from that, there was again a very simple question that which all countries border Ukraine. So specifically from the world page, you can find out topics which are related to mapping because that is an important component of prelims. So Kyiv dismisses the prospect with the defense minister, saying it sounds like a Russian plan and not the Indonesian plan. So that is what Ukraine has to say. So European Union chimes in as the bloc's foreign policy chief says that peace in Ukraine has to be achieved on just terms. It needs to be justiciable, and obviously things can't go forward if only one side is taking steps. All right. So obviously it needs to go both the ways. So Turkey's Erdogan, he's been sworn in for the new term as the president. So he begins his new term. So he's Turkey's longest serving leader, Mr. Erdogan. He won 52% support in May 28th runoff vote. And apart from that, Mr. Erdogan to pursue the increasingly authoritarian policies that have polarized the country and a NATO member, but strengthen its position as a regional military power. So you need to now know about, definitely not now, but this is an important area, that which all countries are a part of NATO and which is the latest country to join NATO. So genetic changes power H5N1 virus spread and severity in the animals. So recently a study published, it has found that H5N1 virus, which spread among the wild birds across 30 countries or territories across continents in Feb 2022, collected different combinations of genes through reassortment with the viruses circulating in the wild birds in North America. So reassortment, AH5N1 virus was genotypically and phenotypically diverse, with many causing severe disease with dramatic neurologic involvement in the mammals. The virus, it keeps on mutating, and that's why it becomes a threat and difficult to deal with. So increased rainfall alone, it will not help the groundwater recovery. So that would definitely play an important role, but we can't say that 100% it would be helping in recharging of the groundwater. So the projected increase in groundwater use of irrigation can cancel the benefits of increased rainfall from warming climate and consecutive years of drought. Too can adversely affect the groundwater storage as recharge will be less. So if like the amount of rainfall is happening, and obviously that would lead to recharging of the groundwater, but again the rate at which groundwater is being extracted, if that is greater than the rate at which it is like recharged, then obviously we can't say that it would be helping in restoring the groundwater, because the amount that will be extracting would be more than the amount which is being, being stored in the groundwater. So it's imperative to reduce groundwater use for irrigation. So caution is that increased rainfall, it can only help recover about 50% of the groundwater which is lost in the last 2 decades. And between 2002 and 2022, about 95% of India's groundwater depletion occurred in North India. So you can remember this data. And definitely with warming climate, the frequency of floods and droughts that will go up. Warming climate will also increase the amount of summer monsoon rainfall that North India that will receive. So we'll have to be prepared to deal with the situation of floods. Summer monsoon rainfall, which is projected to increase by 6 to 8%, can help recover the lost groundwater, and use of groundwater from deeper aquifers in the Indo-Gangetic Plain will make it hard for its recovery from the increased rainfall. So we need to focus upon efficient irrigation. What all important and efficient and economically viable techniques do we have that, like we have drip irrigation, which can help in efficiently utilizing water for irrigation. So water conservative techniques would play an important role. So here coming to FAQ page, what are the friction points on the LSE? So this is in the context of India, China again. GS2 topic, international relations. So why do differences persist between India and China on the Depsang Plains and the Demchok Plains? So you need to spot the locations of these two plains. What is the status of talks? Like we are engaged in the disengagement talks. And where do the two sides they stand after the flare-up that began in May 2020? And where have the buffer zones been created during the disengagement process? So the two sides so far disengaged from 5 of the 7 friction points in eastern Ladakh sector. So all the problems started from 2020 standoff in eastern Ladakh between India and China at the line of actual control, and now it marks 3 years. So the situation along the line of actual control, we are trying that this situation is restored to status quo ante to resolve all the problems. So as part of the disengagement process from friction points in eastern Ladakh, India and China, they have engaged in talks at the diplomatic level, military and political level, with senior military commander level talks that have been going on. And talking about what is actually the disengagement process that the two sides are involved into. So since the corps commander level talks in 2020, the two sides, they have so far undertaken disengagement from 5 friction points. One is at the Galwan after the violent clashes in June 2020, the north and south banks of Pangong. So in Feb 2021, at patrolling point 17 in the Gogra Hot Springs area, and patrolling point 15 in September 2022. So when we talk about the Depsang Plains and the Lemchuk, there are fundamental disagreements, as India maintains that they are the two additional friction points that still remain, while China has refused to accept this thing. So what is the strategic significance of the Depsang Plains? So Demchok is one of the two mutually agreed disputed areas in eastern Ladakh, while Depsang is another friction point. Like there is no agreement mutually about the Depsang Plains because it is strategically important. So in Demchok, while there are like varying claims in the Chardingla area, China, it has set up tents on this side of the Chardingla Nala. So the crucial subsector north consists of the Depsang Plains and the Daulat Beg Oldie. So currently the airfield at DBO, it is accessible by 255 kilometer long Darbuk Shok DBO road. So in Depsang Plains, Chinese troops, they have been blocking Indian Army patrols from going up to around like patrolling point 10, 11, 11, 8, 12, 13 beyond the Y junction. So Chinese buildup in this area threatens India's positions at DBO and also brings Chinese troops closer to the DS-DBO road. So Depsang is also close to the Karakoram Pass overlooking the strategic Saltoro Ridge and Siachen Glacier. So that is the world's highest battlefield, Siachen Glacier. Again, you need to know about the exact location of Siachen and where is Saltoro Ridge located. And also the distance from the limit of patrol on which the PPs, the patrolling points, they are marked to the LAC is the maximum in the Depsang area. And Depsang, it has seen several face-offs in the past. As reported earlier, the officials, they pointed out that as India's capacity in the area that has increased, so especially since 2013, so the number of troops and frequency of patrols that has also gone up, and with it, the number of face-offs have also gone up. So why is India rethinking its anemia policy? So again, there was a question this year on anemia in the prelims. So this becomes an important topic from GS3 from the perspective of health, and then again, an important topic from in the terms of the important schemes and the policy that we have regarding dealing with anemia. So why are anemia estimates, they are being shifted from the National Family Health Survey to Diet and Biomarkers Survey? So we'll talk about this. So let's understand in detail about anemia. So the health ministry has noted that anemia is a public health challenge and accurate estimates, they are needed to tackle this crisis. So definitely first we need to have data in hand in order to deal with the situation and also to formulate the required policies. So what causes anemia? So according to WHO, anemia is a condition in which number of RBCs or the hemoglobin concentration within them is lower than the normal. So hemoglobin is needed to carry oxygen. And if there are too few RBCs or there are not enough hemoglobin, there will be a decreased capacity of the blood to carry oxygen to the body's tissues, resulting in symptoms like fatigue, weakness, dizziness, and shortness of breath. So anemia, according to WHO, may be caused by several factors. There is no, one or single or few fixed factors responsible for anemia. So most common is the nutritional cause of anemia is iron deficiency. So according to Health Ministry, assessment of anemia in India is being shifted to the new Diet and Biomarkers Survey in India, which was launched last year to map the diet, nutrition, and the health status and provide the correct estimate of anemia among the rural and the urban population. So that is one shift. And apart from that, so WHO, it has defined anemia in children aged under 5 years and pregnant women as a hemoglobin concentration of less than 110 grams per liter at sea level, and anemia in the non-pregnant woman as a hemoglobin concentration is less than 120 grams per liter. So that is the basic definition in terms of the numbers provided by WHO. And when we talk about NFH's survey, so it measured hemoglobin in a drop of capillary blood that oozes from the finger prick. So there is like this, as per the report, it can dilute the blood and give a falsely lower value also. So that is not the exact way of measuring whether the person is anemic or not. So recommended method of venous blood sampling as per the report gives a more accurate value. So why are we focusing so much upon anemia? So data on anemia, it remains an important indicator of the public health, since anemia is related to morbidity and mortality in the population groups, usually which are considered to be the most vulnerable, like pregnant women and children under 5. They are most vulnerable. And prevalence study on anemia is useful to monitor the progress of the reproductive health as well. Also, iron deficiency anemia reduces the work capacity of the individuals and entire populations with serious consequences for the economy and for national development. So that's why we are focusing so much upon anemia and dealing with it, because it is not merely a health problem. It is also connected with the economy and the national development. Then we have been talking about the safety regarding and the concerns regarding the artificial intelligence systems. So are the safeguards needed to make AI systems safe or not? So again, that is one of the question and the concern areas. So what is the context of the statement? So CAI's statement endorsed by high-profile tech leaders comes just 2 weeks after Mr. Altman, along with IBM's chief privacy office and AI scientists, they testified before the US Senate Committee on the promises and pitfalls of advances in AI. So you also need to have clarity about what are the concerns, drawbacks related to AI and how it can be regulated. So this is like talking about the US. So why is the safety important in machine learning and AI development? So these two systems are being deployed in high stakes environments, and their decision making capabilities, they are becoming a cause for concern. So one of the concerns is the decision making capability. So in one simulation, an AI enabled military drone was programmed to identify an enemy's surface to air missile. Once it spots the missile, a human agent can it was supposed to sign off on the strike, but the AI decided to blow up the site instead of listening to the human command. So that is, you can imagine the level of risk and danger which can occur because of the decision taken by AI. So it lacks that analytical thing, the human cognitive abilities, so it can behave in unpredictable and dangerous ways. So not just in military, but AI and machine learning, they are used in diverse industries. Like in medical science is a major area where it is trained to deal with the health conditions to diagnose them. And even car manufacturers, they deploy advanced driver assistance systems to give drivers automated driving experiences. Then safely deploying AI systems in such industries, definitely it is an important area. So this is an important topic from Indian Heritage and Culture, GS1. So a renowned seat of Tamil language and culture. This is an important topic from the perspective of Sengol. So it was presented to the Prime Minister of India by the Thuruvaddurai Mutt to the first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru in the new Parliament building. It has put the spotlight on the 16th century institution, which is now a pale shadow of its past glory. So the heads of the Mutt, they always maintained a distance from politics. So they were not, interfering in politics. So they were just merely religious in nature. So we have talked in detail about Sengol and how is it related to Cholas. So that's all important. So here this article is mostly talking about the mud that is associated with Sengol. So you can just go through it once if you desire. So TRAI, it tells the telcos to have one site for consent. So telecom regulator has directed the telecom service providers to develop a unified digital platform in 2 months to seek, maintain, and revoke customers' consent for promotional calls and messages as it seeks to tackle the menace of nuisance calls and unsolicited promotional messages. So in order to deal with them, the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India has directed the service providers to have one site for all these things. So OPEC plus, you need to know about the members here. OPEC plus in terms of economy also, this is an important topic, and then it's an important body. So from GS2 and GS3, it's an important topic, and it begins the meetings that may see more output cuts. So that is the expectation that we might be seeing more output cuts in future. Again, that would increase the risk of inflation because India is heavily dependent upon importing the crude oil, and if the prices go up, so even our current account deficit that would expand further. So OPEC plus, it pumps about 40% of the global crude oil, meaning its policy decisions, it can have a major impact on the oil prices. Coming to Financial Express, so here it is given in detail all about the train accident. So here we have a timeline of the deadliest rail accidents in India. So if like you can see the first deadliest incidents were seen in 1981. So since then we've been facing this type of problem, and what are the reasons that why we've not been able to solve this kind of problem or even prevent such kind of disasters. So we need to think about that. What more can be done in order to prevent such disasters in future? So this term is often repeated in the newspaper, generative AI. So you need to find out exactly about the features of the generative AI model and how it is distinct from other AI technologies. So this is an important topic under Science and Tech, GS3. So what is Kavach? So salient features, it controls the speed of the train by automatic application of the brakes in case loco pilot it fails to apply the brakes. Then it repeats line side signal in cab, which is very useful for higher speeds and foggy weather. Then it works on the principle of continuous update of movement authority. And auto whistling at level crossing gates, that is one of the features. Then collision avoidance by direct loco to loco communication, and it supports the features of SOS in case of any mishap to control train in vicinity. So you can remember it. What is actually covered, like it is related to what? So safety of the trains and the operations, and then we talked about the salient features. So Kavach, it has been indigenously developed by the Research, Design and Standards Organization in association with 3 Indian vendors. So when we talk about mental health issues, so do we have any policy in India to deal with mental health problems or not? You need to find out about that. So this is an important topic from GS3. So WHO estimates that the burden of mental health problems in India is around 2,400 disability adjusted life years per 1 lakh population. So economic loss due to the mental health conditions between 2012 and 2030 is estimated at $1 trillion. You can imagine how it is impacting even the economy. coming to Indian Express newspaper. So here, so the India-Nepal relations that becomes important topic in terms of international relations GS2 paper. In this picture, you can see Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister is presenting a portrait made from used clothes to the Nepal's Prime Minister, Prachanda. So G20 health push India, it proposes global platform for technology product transfer during the health emergencies. If like there is any situation like pandemic in future, so we need to be prepared to deal with that. So for that, having a common platform would be really helpful in terms of coordinating, and a $200 million of fund would be there for the digital initiatives. So we are focusing on equity in access to diagnostics, drugs, and vaccines in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic. India has proposed a medical countermeasure coordination platform to effectively transfer technologies and products to other countries during health emergencies. So government also proposes to develop research and development and manufacturing networks across the world. So we need to focus on these areas in coming times in order to, maintain that security, and we are under such a situation that we have the capability to deal with any future pandemic. So this is a picture from Japan. Rescue operations, they are underway as vehicles they're left in flood waters after heavy rain brought by Typhoon Mawar in Tiokawa, central Japan. So that's there. Like we can learn from such countries because they are more prone to typhoons. That what system do they have? What measures have they taken to be, prepared to deal with such types of disasters? So it can help India in that area if we like find that the steps that they have taken and they can be implemented in India or not. Coming to the economy page, so oil prices they rise over 2%, and we also talked about the OPEC plus today. So that becomes important from GS3 topic, energy. Then So that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining us in this video, and I hope you have understood all the important topics. Since it's Sunday, so we did not have much to discuss today, but we took up all the relevant and important topics. So do subscribe to the channel and hit the like button for this video.